Welcome back to Giant Monster Games. I'm Adrian, and we are playing Budget Merfolk Control. We are going to keep this opening hand. I think it's pretty good. We're playing first on... Oh, no, we're not playing first. We're playing second, so this is actually fantastic. Especially because our opponent just played a land that comes into play tapped. So that's okay by me. Because we are about to seize claim that thing into oblivion. Here you go, opponent. You can have an island. And pass the turn to our opponent and see what they think. I've generally found that some players don't like having their lands turned into islands, especially when we're going to do it 2 turns in a row, which is the game plan right now. Sorry about that, I think? Yeah, so we'll play an island, give our opponent an island, because, well, we're nice like that, and we'll see what our opponent thinks of that, and we'll play a Paradise Mantle, and then pass the turn to our opponent. So now our opponent has no red or green mana, which is, I'm assuming, what they're relying on having. They do have a green mana, so there is that. And they play a Hydra. Okay. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. That is going to get real big, real fast. So we're going to have to deal with that somehow or some way. But first... yeah, so I mean, we can either cast Judge's Familiar for 1 and then have 2 floating mana, or we can play a little bit more efficiently and play Merrow. Yes, our opponent will indeed get the counter, but I'm not too concerned about that. Pass it back to our opponents, by the way. I was just kind of quickly skipping through this, trying to be as fast at playing as possible nowadays. Begin combat. Our opponent is probably going to swing in... They don't swing in. I guess I would have just... Oh god, oh god, oh god. And I accidentally hit F6 and skipped my entire turn. Yay for that. Be careful with the keys, kids. They don't tend to be very forgiving. Oh well, it happens. What is our opponent doing? He is playing Zendikar Incarnate. Okay. So our opponent is playing some kind of landfall deck, I'm guessing? Maybe not? Maybe? I'm assuming it's a landfall deck. I mean, you kind of... If you're playing Zendikar Incarnate, you're probably playing a landfall variant. And now our opponent will probably swing in. Yeah. Check that out. We are not going to block that because I would rather just tap this thing down. It is our turn. Okay. Play an island. We could play Harbinger of Tides and bounce it to our opponent's hand. I think we're going to play Harbinger of Tides on our opponent's upkeep. So let me just, oh no, we'll play it not on their upkeep. We'll play it on their attack step, because they're probably going to attack him with both things. So pass it to our opponent's turn. And then we're going to let them have a little bit of a bad day as they go to attacks. Because I'm assuming they're going to attack him with both of these guys. Which means... That's not fun at all. It's fine. It's okay, though. It is a little bit sad. It does make me have a little bit of a sad face emoji, but it's okay. So we lost this guy. Obviously, we're not going to be able to 2-for-1 him like we were hoping to. But our opponent is playing a bunch of stuff. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. So he's going to go to combat. He's probably going to swing with this Hydra, and this guy will play Harbinger of Tides and bounce the Hydra to his hand. Waiting for our opponent to decide why he's going to swing with everything, obviously. I don't have any blockers, but I do want to play this guy in response to damage, that is, or before damage happens. Not response to damage, but play this in before damage, and we are going to bounce his... yeah, we are going to bounce his guy, because I would rather not have a big 6/6 swing into my face. And then we will take the 4 damage to the face. Yes. It is going to be our turn now, though. And we can cast... We can just play everything. We might just play it all. So we're playing a Merrow, which means we have a 3/3. We can also play our Judge's Familiar, which we probably could have played after. There's no real reason to play it immediately. Go to combat and attack with this guy. is our opponent blocking? I'm assuming our opponent will probably not block. No. Opponent does not block, and let's... This is equipped for 1, right? Let's equip this onto our Judge O Familiar and ship it to our opponent. See what they do. So landfall craziness deck we got going on here. Yeah, what is there going to be our long-term plan for this? What was our sideboard going to be like? Our sideboard plan for this? I don't quite know yet. Zendikar Incarnate. 4/4/4/4, which gets bigger as there are more lands. Hey, look! It's the Hydra again. We didn't see that coming, that's for sure. What is our long-term plan going to be? He is bolting... What is he bolting? He's bolting that guy, which means we are going to pop our Judge to counter this. And opponent obviously can't pay for that. But the Hydra does get a counter on it anyways because there was a spell cast, which is fine. I'd rather not have Lightning Bolt being a pain in my butt. And we will take the 4 from that. We are going to get into risky territory because we keep drawing islands, which is not very fun for us, but it is okay. Now what do we think? We can either swing in for 3, which is not going to be worth it. I think we're going to have to hold off and block something next turn. Probably going to be the Hydra. Unless our opponent plays 2 spells, which is possible. Plays a single Hydra. And unless he has another Lightning Bolt or a 1-drop spell, we will probably aim to block the Hydra. Obviously trading up with Harbinger of Tides. And he does have another Lightning Bolt. That is gonna hurt me in the face area. It might actually be enough to kill me. Hold on, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He would swing in for lethal, so which means I have to block. Yeah, might as well block the big one that I can block. So you're going here, and we will take 5 damage, and we will see what we draw. I think we may just scoop this one and go to game 2. We drew an island. Okay, we're going to scoop this one and go to game 2. And what do we put in against this guy? We do have... Yeah, against sideboarding. So the first and most obvious one is going to be Tidebringer Mage and Dissipation Field. I don't really think we need much else in the way of Echoing Truth. We'll bring in 1 Echoing Truth, I think, actually. And we will take out... what? Bident of Thassa. One of you guys can come out. So we're putting in Echoing Truth, Dissipation Field, and 3 Tinder Mages. Paradise Mantle and Laboratory Maniac can come out, even though I think they're actually a pretty good matchup for this deck. I think that this is going to be a better bet for us. And Mana Leak can go... Actually, you know what? I think actually we will take out 2 Mana Leaks and we'll put in a second Echoing Truth. Yeah. We will play first, and we will keep this opening hand. We can seize claim. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. We can keep this opening hand. I think it is pretty good. Always like seeing Bident of Thassa, even though I can't cast it for a while. It does... If we get into play and we start doing its thing, it usually becomes Craytown. So, always nice to see. Pass it to our opponent, and we will just skip through our opponent's turn as well. We're not playing anything. Our opponent is playing some lands tapped. Our turn. What do I think? I think we are going to do the same thing we did last time and give our opponent an island, and then we are going to play a Judge's Familiar, so in case he decides to get all Craytown up in here, we can counter his instants or sorceries, making him have to play around it. So opponent just plays a mountain, and we get another Seize Claim. So here is the question of the day. Play our land, get our land drop. We could either play a Merfolk Sovereign and start developing our board, or we can do what this deck does best and control our opponent a little bit. Give them so they're not getting the tempo. They're obviously not going to have all the options they need. Last time they had a ton of lands, which was fantastic for them. So he's going to burn my face, I guess. Sure, why not? Combat. go with the birds and pass it to our opponent's turn. Yeah, it would have been nice if I'd have been able to cast my Void Mage as well, but that didn't quite work out for me. Hydra is going to be annoying, but we will be able to deal with it down the road. We put in stuff to deal with Hydra and other cards like it. And this is the point where we play Bident of Thassa, because this is going to give us a huge advantage. We're going to take a little bit of damage from this guy, sure, whatever, but we're going to start drawing a ton of cards. So that's going to be rad. And go to combat. Swing in with our Judge's Familiar, and then we are going to draw a card, because our opponent obviously can't block it. And we draw Mana Leak. Oh, that is going to be very handy down the road here. So unless our opponent can get some red mana, they are basically only playing... they're playing another Hydra. They're basically only going to be playing green spells at this time. Something we can do as well... So 3 damage is nothing to scoff at, but it is okay for this time being. What do I think? What do I think? Our turn is about to start. We got a Tidebringer Mage, which is actually everything we want. So I can tap this for... So we're gonna go this way. So we're gonna tap for blue. We're doing this because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devotion. So we're spending 2 mana and getting 3, or tapping 2 mana and getting 5 mana. So we can actually cast Tidebringer Mage and Merfolk Sovereign? Are those 2 good ones? Those are 2 good combinations? I think they are the 2 best combinations at this time. Okay, so Tidebringer Mage for 2. Tapping down this guy. Yes, so many triggers. And you can keep this guy tapped down. And then we'll play the Merfolk Sovereign, which again will trigger all of the Hydras, which we're okay with. And then we will swing in with the bird. And then pass it to our opponent's turn. Actually, we won't pass it to our opponent's turn, because we're going to draw a card. And if we draw an island, that would be rad. Yes, I want to draw a card with... Oh, we did draw an island. Okay. So our 2 options right now are Void Mage, which I don't think is actually that good of an option. I think saving it and keeping Mana Leak open is actually a better option. Because I'd rather our opponent have to fight for what they want to play, rather than just play whatever they want to play. And our opponent doesn't play anything, which is fine by me. Oh, we have another Nykthos. I wish we had more mana to play. That'd be... We could totally use Nykthos to, like, get a ton of mana this turn, but we don't actually have a ton of mana we really want to be playing. So let's draw a couple cards. So, gonna go to combat. Attackers, we're gonna attack with these 2 guys. And then we are going to trigger her ability to make her unblockable. Doing 4 damage and drawing 2 cards. And yes. Cool. So we got an island. We got a Kazi's Trickster. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for blue. We're just going to try and dump a bunch of our cards from our hand onto the table. So we're going to play Kazi's Trickster. This is obviously it's not the best plan because this guy's going to get pretty big. And our opponent has scooped the game, so we're going to game 3. What do we think? I think this is actually a decent setup. Yeah, we're just going to run back the way it is. And it is... What do we think of this opening hand? I think this is a fantastic opening hand, actually. We are going to keep this guy. And our opponent will be playing first, because they lost game 2, so we are in game 3, and unlike normal, I actually have a fair amount of time on my clock. I've been working on playing faster, because that's my biggest downfall right now. And it is... Okay, so he played the Hardened Scales, so which means whenever a thing comes into play, it gets a +1 counter on it. What do I think? Our opponent's not really shuffling their library a ton, but I think we're going to go just cause he's Trickster. I know our opponent isn't actually searching their library, so it's kind of just a chump blocker for the time being. But we do have two Tidebringer Mages in our hand and an Echoing Truth, so even if he does get a bunch of creatures onto the battlefield, specifically that Hydra, which is really annoying, or Hangerback Walker for that matter, we can let them get a bunch of counters on it and then just bounce it back to our opponent's hand, which is generally our game plan. Our turn, we drew an island, which is okay. I don't really want to play... I don't really want to play any of these things. I would like to save Echoing Truth before there's actually some value for us to bounce to his hand. We also played on our opponent's turn, and Tidebringer Mage I don't want to play because I want him to put his green creatures down, and we don't have 3 mana yet, so I guess we're just gonna pass back to our opponent's turn? Yeah, might as well. I don't have anything to play, so I'm not going to play anything. I don't have anything that is high efficiency. Looks like our opponent is not seeing very much red mana right now. Okay, draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest toughness. That is also going to be very annoying for us. And we will play, at this point, what do we think? I think we're going to go Regery right now. Because our opponent doesn't have any red mana. And we will swing in with Kazi's Trickster and see if our opponent wants to trade creatures with us. But our opponent doesn't have any red mana, so he's not going to be bolting this guy right away. So yeah, we got 2 damage in, which is good. So if he was going to be able to bolt it, I probably would have played Sovereign first, just to buffer myself. But he doesn't, which is fine by me. And our opponent passes us the turn again. Okay, opponent, if that's how you want to play it, I'm okay with that. Now, what do we think? If I play Tidebringer Mage, I will tap down this guy and tap down him. If I play Sovereign, we will tap down one of them, and then we'll swing in with 2 3/3s. I think that's the best way of going with it. So we're gonna play Sovereign, which will put Regery on the stack, and we will tap down Hangerback Walker, because I'd rather our opponent not block and then get 2 1/1 flyers. And Hangerback Walker, he's putting counters on it. Yes. Oh, I see. Oh. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. I didn't realize that he tapped it because then it was like, oh, if he hits yes, I would untap the Hangerback Walker. That is really quite funny in the ways that I don't want it to be funny. We might as well turn one of these. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I should have actually saved that. Oh well, it's fine. And do I attack in with anything? I don't attack in because our opponent is just going to block and kill stuff. So we will pass it to our opponent's turn, and we will learn from our mistakes by accidentally untapping his Hangerback Walker. Yes. On our turn, though, we are probably going to just bounce it to his hand, which is going to make him quite a sad panda, I think. Yes. So he plays a Temple. Scrying Temple, that is. So he's going to look at the top of his library. We should have saved the Seize Claim until we saw red mana. That is a bad move on my part. So learn from my mistakes, guys. That this is not worth... You should be saving this until you actually can control your opponent a little bit. We knew that he had red mana in his library, and we didn't do it that way. So now we can do this quite a bit differently. Yeah. So we're going to Tidebringer Mage, which will trigger Regery, which will target his Hangerback Walker. Our opponent will probably tap down this and put counters on it. And then it is a May effect. You may tap or untap target permanent. So we are not going to untap it this time. And then when Tidebringer Mage comes into play, we are going to tap down this guy. And then we are going to swing in for 9 damage. That sounds like a fun idea to me. 1, 2, 3, go! And then we will pass it to our opponent's turn. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. And I kind of want our opponent to swing it with Hangerback Walker so then we can bounce it to his hand. I'm assuming he will. At this point, it seems like the best bet to swing in, because at worst case he'll be, or at best case he does 8 damage. Worst case he kills Tidebringer Mage. This is the logic that I'm working with. So begin combat. Goes to attack. Does our opponent attack? He is thinking. If he doesn't do it, we're gonna add on his end step. We're gonna bounce it to his hand anyways, because we have another Tidebringer Mage, and we'll tap down his Hydra and swing in for lethal. So I think either way, we actually have this game next turn. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. End step, Echoing Truth, bouncing the Walker. Yes, it'll make the Hydra bigger, but I don't think that's gonna stop us. And our opponent should scoop technically right now. I don't think he has any potential destroy target, artifact, or enchantment. That's neat. Yeah, okay. Well, that is a thing. So he is still going to get his benefit, and it's going to deal 2 damage to him. So he is going to get a whole bunch of tokens right now, which changes the way this match works out. It's okay, though. And what do I think? So he has 7 life. So we will Tidebringer Mage, and Tinder Mage will tap down the Hydra. Now, what do I think here? Our opponent, so I'm going to swing with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If I swing in with everything, which is what we're going to do, our opponent is going to double block some stuff and prevent some damage. So, yeah, we'll swing with everything. Make our opponent deal. And then we will go to... We could play Nykthos, but I think we're just going to save it for now. Let our opponent guess what we have in our hand. Our opponent will either single block everything and hopefully be able to do something next turn, or he will double or triple block stuff and actually kill off some of our either lords or other creatures, which is not what he's doing. He's just one blocking everything. Fine by me. That is okay. I'm okay with that. Our opponent is drawing the card. This is a neat draw mechanic for this deck. This is kind of a fun little budget deck we're playing against here. I think there's a couple cards in here that are not that budget, but... Actually, no, I mean, think everything in here is budget. He's playing lands that come into play tapped. Pretty budget, if you ask me. And what does our opponent do? Ground Assault deals damage equal to... Yeah... so he's going to kill off that guy. I don't think that's going to win him the game, though. We're about to find out. Yeah, Hydra's getting bigger, but it's still untapped. And he plays another one. He is lightning bolting something. Does he have the Regery or the Sovereign? Yeah, okay. We still have potential answers in our deck. Let's see what these libraries look, these graveyards look like. Okay. Our turn. What do we draw? There is many a things. Island is not one of them. Well, this changes most everything. If we swing in with Tidebringer Mage, he'll just block with the Hydra. If we swing in with Merrow, we're going to play Nyx, and we're going to pass the turn because I really need the blockers. Well, this has totally flipped on our head. This is I'm impressed. Well played, guy playing this deck. You have turned the odds around, even though I was pretty sure you weren't going to be able to. And what is our opponent doing? Casting something. As long as your devotion is... Yeah, what does he do normally? At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gains haste and XX, where X is that creature's power. I am a little bit terrified from that. That's actually... How do I deal with that? I guess I probably coulda, shoulda kept, though, that Echoing Truth for the Hydras, even though the Hangerback Walker was getting very large as well. Scary. Very scary. So I'm assuming our opponent is about to swing in with a 30-30 trample. That is going to be game. Wow. Congratulations to our opponent. This is that is I didn't expect that. I did not see that coming. Anyways, this has been Giant Monster Games. I'm Adrian. We'll just all block this guy right here. It's not going to make any difference, but we're going to do it anyways. I'm Adrian. This is Giant Monster Games. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video against Hydras? Counter Hydras? I'm not sure what you want to call this deck. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and comment if you guys want to see more videos like this. And, like always, don't forget to game like a giant monster.